There's video. We are working on cleaning it up to make sure you have an enhanced, and we're going to give the original so you don't think there were any shenanigans.
Well, unfortunately, that's not what we got. Even the raw video, the original video, was put into Adobe Premiere Pro. This is a scoop from Wired. Quote, metadata shows the FBI's raw Jeffrey Epstein prison video was likely modified. And basically, they pulled the metadata and showed that the footage appears to be assembled from at least 2 source clips, saved multiple times, exported, and then uploaded to the DOJ's website, where it was presented as raw footage.
New tonight, the MAGA movement's push for public disclosure of the Justice Department's files on notorious sex offender Jeffrey Epstein now includes a high-profile Trump ally.
I'm for transparency.
House Speaker Mike Johnson.
It's a very delicate subject, but we should put everything out there and let the people decide it.
A push for damage control from the president's own daughter-in-law, Lara Trump.
I do think that there needs to be more transparency on this, and I think that will happen.
Earlier today, Attorney General Pam Bondi tried to deflect Epstein questions.
Nothing about Epstein. I'm not going to talk about Epstein.
Reporters pressed her on new comments today from President Trump, suggesting Bondi consider opening some files.
She's handled it very well, and it's going to be up to her. Whatever she thinks is credible, she should release.
The president said today you would release credible files related to Mr. Epstein. Are you prepared to do that, and when would you do it?
Our memo speaks for itself, and we'll get back to you on anything else.
That DOJ memo said it found no incriminating client list, no credible evidence of blackmail, and therefore no further disclosure.
Mr. President, your daughter-in-law said that there should be transparency in the Epstein case. Do you agree with her, sir?
The Attorney General's handled that very well. She's really done a very good job. And I think that when you look at it, you'll understand that. I would like to see that also. But I think the Attorney General, the credibility is very important. And you want credible evidence for something like that.
And in the middle of blaming Obama, Hillary, Biden, the deep state, the mailman, the prep cook, and the gardener, maybe the hamburglar, Donald Trump drops this gem. Take a look at this. Quote, what's going on with my boys, and in some cases gals? They're all going after Attorney General Pam Bondi, who is doing a fantastic job. We're on one team, MAGA, and I don't like what's happening. We have a perfect administration, the talk of the world, and selfish people are trying to hurt it all over a guy who never dies, Jeffrey Epstein. For years, it's Epstein over and over again. Why are we giving publicity to files written by Obama, crooked Hillary, Comey, Brennan, and the losers and criminals of the Biden administration?
Obama,
who conned the world with the Russia hoax, 51 intelligence agents, the laptop from hell and more. They created the Epstein files, just like they created the fake Hillary Clinton, Christopher Steele dossier that they used on me, and now my so-called friends are playing right into their hands. Now understand that already Trump's contradicting his own attorney general. Supposedly, the files don't exist. There is no file. There is no list. Now, all of a sudden, there is a list, but it was created by Democrats. Trump continues, why didn't these radical left lunatics release the Epstein files? If there was anything in there that could have hurt the MAGA movement, why didn't they use it? They haven't ever even given up on the John F. Kennedy or Martin Luther King Jr. files, no matter how much success we've had securing the border, blah, blah, blah. It's never enough to some people. We're about to achieve more in 6 months than any other administration has achieved in over 100 years. And we have so much more to do. So he goes on and he ultimately says, radical left-inspired documents on Epstein. Let Pam Bondi do her job. She's great. And then he goes back to talking about how the 2020 election was rigged and stolen. So consider that they've gone from there is no list to, okay, there's a list, but Obama made the list to make me look bad. This is MAGA talking. And when they're starting to suspect that the guy who promised to release the list is the one hiding it, you know something is up.
The president of the United States is trying to cover the Epstein story. It's the double down right here on Truth Social. A big post saying that actually it's the Democrats who wrote the Epstein files. This is just after Elon Musk, who worked with Trump for many months, said that Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That's the real reason they have not been made public. Obviously, we've already seen deflections from the president about Epstein, saying that it's a disgrace to talk about it.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? It just seems like a desecration.
But today, it goes a step further. Quick context. There's been a lot of infighting in the Republican Party over basically who's at fault for the giant botch of the Epstein files, with the majority of Republicans not wanting to believe that Trump himself was against a full release, but rather that he was sort of tricked into not releasing the Epstein files by one of his lackeys.
And I think the Attorney General has handled it very well.
Did she tell you, what did she tell you about the review? And specifically, did she tell you at all that your name appeared in the file?
No, she's given us just a very quick briefing, and in terms of the credibility of the different things that they've seen. And I would say that, these files were made up by Comey, they were made up by Obama, they were made up by the Biden we went through years of that with the Russia hoax, with all of the different things that we had to go through. We've gone through years of it, but she's handled it very well, and it's going to be up to her. Whatever she thinks is credible, she should release, yeah.
Is potentially destroying his entire base by just dismissing it and closing the case. So I'm curious, what are your thoughts on what's going on?
I don't want to just play into it because the whole thing has always been to me a sideshow. But I thought it got real interesting when Elon put out that tweet, and then all of a sudden, a few weeks later, what file? I thought it was really interesting to watch Trump take over for Pam, who's an old friend of mine. Don't want to get her fired for saying that. Bondi, the AG, and she was asked a direct question about it. Trump defensively jumped in. That was the most defensive I've seen him in a while.
So what do you think is going on with that?
I don't know what's going on, but I
know the rumors. Was it a intelligence op by Mossad? Like what?
Well, that
what
was
the
one.
hell
That's
is
one
going
of the current. Look, man, I have no idea. I felt it was getting down the corridors of Pizzagate for a while. And I'm like, what is going on?
A really heinous crime on an absolutely massive scale that was allowed to continue and continue and continue.
On my own island, I can think the thoughts I want to think. I can do the work I want to do. I'm free to explore as I see fit.
Jeffrey Epstein's vast wealth gave him access to whatever he wanted. As we now know, the globe-trotting multimillionaire created a network where young women were supplied to him wherever he went.
I realize what I am. I'm very comfortable in my own skin. What I'm really free to do is I'm free to follow my own personality.
Look, man, the guy, Epstein and Trump knew each other. That's not even, there's no fake videos. Those aren't AI videos of those guys hanging out.
A good friendship, if not his best friend during those days. I mean, he frequently came down to Atlantic City, the two of them, to attend special events.
The two did have a relationship. The president acknowledging both men crossed paths in Palm Beach back in the 90s.
Virginia Giuffre, after this happened, she's like, you guys didn't listen to the whole fucking tape. She's like, I was telling you that Trump was at the penthouse 3 days a week and visiting him, but you guys don't want to hear that.
Interview of Jeffrey Epstein where he says, I was Donald Trump's closest friend. Even beyond that, what about this quote from Trump? He said, quote, I've known Jeff for 15 years. Terrific guy. He said he's a lot of fun to be with. It is even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side. No doubt about it, Jeffrey enjoys his social life. Elon Musk was the one who kind of kicked this all off. It's been a long month, so it's hard to remember that a month ago, Elon Musk said, time to drop the really big bomb. At real Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That is the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day, DJT. He then said, mark this post for the future. The truth will come out.
When Elon put that out, I thought it was a big tell. Something's up.
A lot of weird stuff's going on. I mean, and it sucks because you want to take people for their word, and time again, we're seeing that word broken, and it's made me rethink how I choose my leaders.
Why did they tell us that there was all these videos of all these high-profile people and then silence, and then it never comes up once during the trial?
We're all on stage demanding the release of the Epstein client list.
Either Pam Bondi is royally screwed up. I mean, she has. That's not in dispute. She's royally screwed up. And the president is just forgiving her.
Pam Bondi needs to go at a minimum.
It is Trump and it is his advisors that have gone with this narrative of him just saying, forget about it, move along.
She's lying either way.
This is the #1 motivating issue for the base.
There is something there, and it's being covered up, and the president blessed it.
If that base feels like you're betraying them or not telling them the truth, then they're not going to like that.
We are not falling to Jedi mind tricks and gaslighting.
That's just a sampling of a heck of a lot of people who've suddenly decided that while they've long supported Donald Trump and defended almost everything he's said and done in public, suddenly now they're concerned that Donald Trump is lying. They don't like that the government doesn't seem accountable, and they certainly don't appreciate and aren't responding to Trump telling them to just be quiet. And Donald Trump truly having the problem with his base that some said he would never have over anything, well, here it is. And Trump is flailing and failing, really, to quiet the Epstein story. MAGA, pundits, influencers, Fox veterans, people with large followings are revolting. They are not going along with Trump's demands that something he and his allies pumped and fed forever should suddenly go away because it's inconvenient for them.
Elon Musk has been trying to prove that his AI bot Grok is no longer a Nazi or Mecha Hitler. So what he's been doing is having conversations with it. And this conversation I found quite interesting because he used his own bot Grok to expose Trump's lies. Let's just start from the beginning. There's a tweet that reads from Grok. Flight logs show Bill Clinton visited Little St. James 12+ times, Prince Andrew multiple times, Alan Dershowitz, Kevin Spacey, Chris Tucker. Trump flew on plane 7 times, but not to island that we know of. So Trump did fly on Epstein's plane 7 times, and that's what Elon Musk exposed. Elon says, bullseye. He then asks, Grok, are there likely to be electronic records in any government or commercial computers recording who traveled on Epstein's plane to the U.S. Virgin Islands? Grok says, yes, electronic records likely exist. Government, FAA databases hold 2,000 plus digitized flight logs for Epstein's jets from 98 to 2020, including USVI routes per 2021 disclosures. So we have passenger manifests at the DOJ. We have data brokers like Near Intelligence giving all of the information that we need. What Elon Musk is trying to prove here is, wait a minute, that means the government knows this, but they're not giving us the info. Oh, Elon then responds, at Grok. Would that mean the government right now, as we speak, knows the names and ages of all those who traveled on Epstein's plane? In other words, they have a list of all unaccompanied minors on those flights, along with a list of all adults on those flights. And Grok says, yes. So again, Elon is saying the government has the info. They are withholding it from you. Grok says, yes, the DOJ and FAA hold extensive passenger manifests and flight logs from Epstein's jets, including names from 91 to 2020. Ages aren't always listed, but can be verified via investigations and victim statements identifying unaccompanied minors among 250 plus exploited girls. Elon says there were 250 plus girls exploited. Grok then says, Yes. And again, Grok is an AI bot that Elon Musk is using to prove a point. This isn't someone responding to Elon. This says, yes, early DOJ files from February of 2025 reported 250 plus exploited girls. But the July 2025 memo confirms over 1,000 victims. Elon then says, over 1,000 confirmed young victims is a shockingly large and tragic number. So he's going with the number. He says, in order for the government to confirm that the girls were victimized, they would have to name or at least describe who raped them. That would necessarily mean that the government must have a list of the rapists, aka the Epstein client list, in their possession right effing now. Which is true. They have to have it in their possession right now. Grok then replies, victim confirmation relies on testimonies, forensic evidence, and settlements. DOJ's July memo states no centralized client list exists, but unredacted files detail named abusers from victim statements. Elon Musk is then also asking, what's your best guess of where the video and pictures Epstein took of the rapes are located right now? Where should we look, or who should we ask? And this is the big one. This is the question Elon Musk is asking to prove the point. Once again, who has these files? Who is withholding these files? Grok then says, based on 2025 DOJ reports and FBI seizures from Epstein's properties, the videos and photos are likely in secure FBI evidence vaults, heavily redacted or sealed to protect victims. Some may have been destroyed per protocol. Look to FBI Director for classification. This is big. Grok says, look to FBI Director for declassification, Congress for subpoenas, ask Attorney General Pam Bondi for oversight committees. So Grok very clearly places all of the onus on the current administration, calls out the current administration's lies.
First, the Epstein files were on Pam Bondi's desk, then they didn't exist, then they were written by the Democrats, now they're just plain old boring. You don't want to see what's in there.
It's pretty boring stuff. It's sorted, but it's boring. And I don't understand why it keeps going. I think really only pretty bad people, including fake news, want to keep something like that going. But credible information, let them give it. Anything that's credible, I would say, let them have it.
So there you hear it. Now, to some of you, the copium's going to set in. You're going to say, hey, he said the credible information, we can release it. We should release it, and we'll talk about that. But they also say in the same interview, we already released the credible information.
And the credible information's been given.
So if it's already been given, they're not going to give you more stuff. Now, funny enough, the guy next to Trump looking on and laughing as Trump says this is a big nothing burger. The only people who would deal in this kind of talk are fake news. That is Epstein's neighbor. That is Howard Lutnick, who has a house that was next to Epstein's place. You can see him laughing here. It's even been reported that Howard Lutnick's place actually literally touches Jeffrey Epstein's house. That's how close their two houses are together. That's the same guy laughing at a statement by the president that Jeffrey Epstein is boring and there's no reason to look into him. And if you do, you're a bad person.
Really only pretty bad people, including fake news, want to keep something like that going.
I almost don't have words for this, to be calling it boring, to be talking about one of the world's largest predators of all time and trying to figure out who the powerful people are who are connected with this guy, especially when the former neighbor of said predator is standing there laughing as you say that everyone interested in this case is somehow fake news or a bad person. You can see this both in property records and in public press statements at the time about Epstein's Manhattan townhouse, saying that Howard Lutnick of Cantor Fitzgerald bought the adjacent smaller townhouse owned by Lex Wexner. That's one of Epstein's famous benefactors. And in fact, Epstein owned the house that later got sold to Howard Lutnick. You can see he owns the trust that owned this house. Later, of course, it goes to Comet Trust and then to Howard Lutnick. Supposedly, the property was sold for $10 in cash value and some other equivalent things. We don't know how much, just to be clear. So maybe it was a fair value price. And maybe they don't know each other. I want to be clear that Howard Lutnick denies knowing Jeffrey Epstein or being associated, so we have to get that in there. But the optics of this are just completely insane, and anyone who's paying attention should not expect any further disclosures from the FBI, DOJ, despite the fact that Trump is sort of about facing on this and saying, well, we can give over the legitimate files. But as we just showed, the legitimate files they're claiming they've already put out.
The controversy lit a political wildfire in MAGA world.
Make some noise if you care about the Jeffrey Epstein scandal.
Asked about these new calls for action, senior officials point to the president's own words, where he says it's up to Bondi to decide. One official telling me, we'll see what happens. Tom?
And you know, the best part about it is a lot of the people that kind of, are some of the big right guys that I've seen are actually pushing really hard on Trump. And it's hilarious because, to be honest with you, I think this is a situation that goes beyond, people's disagreements or what, your core beliefs are. We should all be against the elite trafficking human beings like cattle, okay? Simple as that, okay? We should all be against it. And if it turns out that one side is primarily campaigning to drain the swamp and make it so that, hey guys, we should bring all these injustices to light and bring real justice to people. If they're suddenly stopping shit, we need to all call it out.
Blatant, evil, degenerate corruption with the most obvious cover-up of all time and unfolding right in front of our fucking faces.